Welcome back to another episode of Binge Warmers.
Hey, how's it going?
Today we're talking about
Dune.
Part 2.
You know why I like doing videos like this? Like
Why?
Movie reviews when they just come out.
Why?
It's because there's not a whole lot of video to pull from. We just got like trailer footage.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
less
a lot less
editing
work.
Yeah.
There you go.
Granted, it looks less interesting. I guess I can swap between the two of us. Easy, better.
Yeah, so we went and watched Dune last night, opening night. It was phenomenal.
I loved it. I think it was probably my favorite thing I've seen all year.
Yeah.
In theaters.
It's a new year, so you've not actually seen anything in
March.
theaters this year.
It's already March. And
Okay,
I
but you haven't seen anything.
Anyone But You.
That's a good one. It's got Sydney Sweeney in it. Go watch it. Just if you're a Sydney Sweeney fan.
think
We all know.
It's
Look,
well out of theaters. It was barely in theaters for Valentine's Day.
we all know.
Yeah.
It's Sydney Sweeney.
Anyway, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit the noti bell so you can get notied when we start notying all over the floor.
Comment question of the day. What movie are you most excited to see this year?
Did you like the first Dune as well? Were you hyped for the second Dune?
I was hyped for it.
Yeah, me too.
We rewatched the first one the night before.
Yeah.
And then watched this one, and it was like just a continuation. Like, dare I say, I walked out of the movie theaters and I said, Hopper, this is like OG Lord of the Rings trilogy level for me. Like, that's how good it was.
I don't feel like that often, but there is it does feel like Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of getting a Star Wars vibe, but I think this inspired Star Wars, like the book.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is like spice and stuff, like smuggling operations and
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like it's all kind of, and there's like an evil emperor
Played by Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Also, spoiler alert, it'll be going up above us,
Yes,
but this
we're
will
gonna
have
do spoilers.
spoilers. We do spoiler reviews because we're just not smart enough to do reviews without the spoilers. So.
But I guess before spoilers start, like I would go see it. I
Yeah,
definitely recommend it.
100%.
Watch the first one first, obviously, but
The first one
amazing.
is a
film.
little dry. If you're not,
even this one's kind of dry,
but it works. It works so well.
It's not boring.
Yeah.
but it's dry, and I kind of think it's. I always, because when the first one came out, I was always like, yeah, it's a little dry, but it's really good. Like
Yeah.
it's well acted. The story's interesting.
The cinematography, the music,
yeah, dude, it's all just like
so
there.
good, so good.
Denis Villeneuve is
Yeah.
like kind of artsy whatever
Yeah.
filmmaker. He did Blade Runner and a bunch of other stuff. He's fantastic.
Awesome.
He
No
recently
complaints.
was in the press about. He said that he's like, movies shouldn't need to use words. They should be able to you should be able to visualize what's happening. He's like television is corrupted movie.
Yeah.
He said something like that.
I want you to know, if I'd heard that before watching these movies, I would have been like, another stuck-up movie
Yeah,
maker.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But he backs it up.
Well, that's
really well with
because a
these
lot
movies.
of this is like a lot of sign, like they sign to each other sometimes,
yeah.
and then they'll, it's just quiet, but you can kind of like, and the acting is really good. Like
Yes.
you can really feel how, like Zendaya, you could call this movie Zendaya listfully looking off because
Yeah.
she's always staring at Paul.
But like it
Or
works.
It does work. It's really good, and you kind of and like you can really feel exactly what she's thinking. Like,
Yeah.
You don't even need her to say anything.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, really, really phenomenal. The sandworms, dude. Oh man, the sandworm in the first movie, like when it's they're trying to run away from it, whatever. And then it just kind of stops and looks at Paul.
Yeah, it's just staring at him.
It's like, whoa, that's pretty.
That's
oof.
great cinematography right there.
It looks, and there's like a storm, like it's toward the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers alert, obviously. But it's like there's a big storm, and then out of nowhere, there's like all these forces, evil forces, and then out of nowhere, like 3 giant worms just come out of this massive storm.
Dude.
It's like it's some of the coolest stuff I've seen in a movie.
We didn't talk about it. I realized why that whole area was protected by a rock outcropping. That's why the worms couldn't get in. So they nuked that rock outcropping, and so the storm came in and the sandworms, which was insane.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
man,
so
yeah.
good.
There's
They're long, but like you don't feel.
Yeah,
how, like the whole time I had Hopper like look at his watch, and I was just like, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, damn it, we only have 30 minutes left. Like, oh my God, I need more. I need like another hour and a half. Like, I don't want this to be over.
Another thing because this packed theater.
Yeah.
Like, I got seats. I always do this where it's like, whenever I get seats in the theater, I get like, or there's like one spot in between me and the next group.
Yeah.
And then that way, like, oh, no one's going to sit there. People went and sat in those spots.
Everywhere.
It was
Everyone
awful.
was sitting there.
And we noticed like the person that sat beside your girlfriend,
Yeah.
they like came in with the group, but they sat there, and then the other group members like went somewhere else.
Yeah, they were that dedicated to watching this
They're
movie.
like, yeah, we're just gonna find random seats
Yeah.
and go into. That's cool.
That's insane.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would do that.
No, I would. I would have just went to the later showing.
I don't even like going by myself. Do you like going by yourself?
I've
at all?
never gone to the movies by myself.
It's kind of a.
Oh,
I think
I take that back. I did once when I took my sister. They watched some movie, and I ended up watching the Christian Bale Noah movie.
Oh, okay.
way back
yeah,
when.
yeah.
But no.
Forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Speaking of that, though, does this have mass appeal? I guess it really does because it's doing well and it's getting really good reviews and stuff. I feel like, but it's such a weird premise. It's like
here's a
man does space drugs.
Yeah.
Artificial Messiah does space drugs to liberate a planet with giant worms or something. It's like you wouldn't think that's good.
Well, I think,
but it's one of the most impactful things I've seen. It's because the characters are solid and like I feel like that's what I care about in movies.
Yeah,
I've thought about that, and I was watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Video, and I was thinking like if I didn't like these characters, I probably wouldn't care about this conflict or like their relationship. Yeah. But like that's the whole thing.
But they sell it really well.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it now.
And the same with this. Like, I really care about Paul. I don't care too much about Zendaya's character.
Perfect acting by Timothée Chalamet.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
and like he's the kind of weird freak you want in this movie because he gets it. Like he understands.
He has those raw, like yelling, emotional parts too, and you're just like, that fit. Like that was good.
Put the voice in there.
Yeah, he was like, silence, and the lady was like, abomination. I was like, you still listen to him, bitch. So.
What about Florence Pugh in this? I thought she was really good.
It came out of left field for me. I know you said that there'd been coverage with it. I hadn't seen any coverage with her in it.
Yeah, she's doing like those little like tech wire interviews. Yeah, or like those little things where it's like, let me answer Google's most questions about Florence Pugh.
I get captured by those a lot.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of.
I usually see them after they come out. And oh yeah, this was advertising Madam Web 6 months ago.
That's the thing. Yeah, I watched the videos like 8 or 9 months later, and they're like, oh, this movie's coming out. I was like. No, it's not.
But that's cool. I like that they're at least making content that we'll still be interested in later,
You'll have to put this comparison. I'm sorry, I'm going to make you do a little work. But the Emperor was played by Christopher Walken, and he literally looked like Space Dad from Megamind. Like, it was uncanny.
That's really funny.
Oh, man. But, yeah, Florence Pugh was good. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly.
Pugh. Florence Pugh.
But she's really good. Des, my girlfriend, had made the comment how every time that you see her, she's in some weird futuristic, middle ages type
like
get
headgear,
up thing.
Like her headgear. And I was thinking about Midsommar too, because she's wearing like a big goofy flower crown and that. Yeah. Like she just always wearing some dumb stuff on her head.
Yeah. I loved Stilgar. I thought Stilgar was awesome.
He was my favorite character.
I love how he there's a point where Timothée Chalamet, Paul Atreides was like, I'm not the Messiah, this is this and this, and he's like over there talking to the people. He's like, the Messiah would say that. He would really say that. And they were like, yeah, that's him.
There's a lot of humor in this, which I didn't expect because the first one was pretty humorless.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some funny aspects, like Duncan Idaho is kind of funny.
Yeah,
he's like a funny little character.
I like Duncan Idaho.
But in this, like Stilgar and like all the kind of aspects of that, they're trying to make a Messiah out of this guy who clearly doesn't believe he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
And that's a whole interesting plot point too,
Who's that? Rob Schneider? He's like, listen, I'm not the Messiah. They said, you are the Messiah.
Are you talking about Life of Brian?
Probably.
That's not Rob Schneider. That's Monty Python, bro.
I am not the Messiah. Do you understand? Honestly.
I don't know. I just remember every time I see that meme, I'm like, damn, that's Rob Schneider down there.
Holy hell.
No, but I love Stilgar, dude. Stilgar is so cool.
Well, I do, I like because he's like, you need to go, he's like, if you're the Messiah, you need to learn the ways of the desert. Yeah. And he's like, you need to go out and cross this thing to this thing. And he's like, watch out for the worms. Obviously, that's the worst part. The centipedes are pretty bad.
Yeah.
The little ones. And even there was this part where this like elite crew of Harkonnens.
Yeah.
They come in and they get sniped. And this is before was that in the first one?
No, this is the second one. That's the weird thing. We didn't see guns in the first one.
That's true. Yeah.
We finally see guns in this one, and they're like high tech.
I like that it's just knives though. It's not like
everyone likes a good sword fight. You know what I mean? Even no matter how futuristic you get, you want a sword fight.
I think so, but it kind of makes sense too in context because they've got the shields that you can only stab through.
Yeah.
You can't shoot a big bullet because it'll stop the motion or something.
Yeah.
That's a cool piece of world building and technology. But I do like that they're there's a bunch of Harkonnens, these evil kind of whatever, space emperor people, whatever, and they get shot and they're just falling, and
they just keep falling,
and people in the theater were laughing. I'm like, oh my god, they were laughing at bodies falling out of the sky.
There's a funny. It reminded me so bad. Shout out to my online friends, but my buddy Molly and Brody, we were all three playing Dark Souls 3 together, and there's big long ladders, right? You can die from fall damage. So Brody slides down, and I'm up there, and Brody's looking off, just waiting for us to get down. And you hear Molly go, "You think a drop from this height would kill me?" And Brody goes, "Yeah, probably." And he's just kind of looking away. From Brody's perspective, you just see someone fall and die behind him. And he does a whole yell and stuff. We laughed for 10 minutes after that. And every time someone fell, in my head, I'm just picturing that.
You think I could?
Before Brody even finished saying, yeah, I think you would, you hear, ah, boom, dead.
I do like that. There's like a little technology, like they're wearing like boots or levitation. I'm reading the Red Rising series, and they talk about their grav boots. So in my head, I'm like, oh, they're using their grav boots.
Yeah,
but like they're just like silent. Like they
dude, it's so cool.
Dropping the
That's another thing with like visuals and stuff. Like the guy, the Denis Dene.
It's spelled Dennis, but I think he's like French or something.
So like the quiet moments, they really help capture. Yeah. They're not just like, they're like, there's quiet moments where you're just like nothing's happening. So much is happening in this movie when it's just quiet, and it's so different.
It's refreshing, honestly. Yeah, because you're used to just like vomit and like nonsense. Like if you go watch the Minions or whatever. And granted, this is not.
Yeah, it's.
We're
different.
comparing Minions to Dune or whatever.
It's different genres. It's different.
Yeah. And this is for adults. That's for more kids. But I feel like even like in like blockbuster
movies,
like Marvel stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, was there a quiet moment in the Marvels? I didn't watch it, but
A Quiet Place was pretty quiet.
That's fair. But I'm saying like
in the Marvels, no, it was
like what studios want to feed us. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to give us Dune 2, even though. But like that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. This is doing well, but I'm so glad it is.
Well, it's again. It comes back to my age-old argument of like the Marvels. You have Disney and Marvel trying to appeal to everyone all at once.
The widest
reach.
Yeah.
And this guy said, "No, I'm making this movie, and whoever wants
this weird space war movie.
Yes, and whoever wants to come watch it will watch it, and it proves that that's all you have to do, and people will go watch your film."
Thank God.
Yes, because it was phenomenal.
Well, and thank God they like trust the director because
absolutely.
That's a big thing too. Like they'll make a movie. Marvel especially is bad at this.
Yes.
And they'll make a movie and then they'll like reshoot it in the last like 5 months of
all the suits will be like, we don't like what the director did here.
Yeah,
like,
this is a little too interesting.
You guys should have made the movie.
Let's make it a little more clear for the dumbasses in the audience.
Yeah,
that's how
and it's like because that's the thing. I love exposition dumps with like pseudoscience we talk about with our global warming movies and stuff. There's like no exposition in this movie. You kind of just learn things as you do. There's still some questions I have like throughout this whole movie he's seeing Jameis, the guy he kills in the end of the first movie. Yeah. And I'm like, he sees future and past. None of this happened. Does he see alternate timelines? Like, that's really one of the only questions I'm still confused on.
I think he says that because he drinks the worm Kool-Aid, and then he's like looking at his hand, and he's like, I see the alternate, they're the alternate versions. Yeah. And he's like, I do see a path through. Yeah. And that was like to call the Emperor and get him to come and stuff like that. But I guess he sees alternate pasts too. I don't know how
because he sees Jameis, who's dead at this point, teaching him different things and doing different things.
Which was a big shock in the first movie because we see him we see him with that guy and then he kills that guy.
Yeah, and we're like, wait, what?
So I don't know. Maybe he's got some special powers or something. Yeah. And I know the Dune books go crazy. Like, they get very
I want to read them, but just the sheer volume of the book.
I looked up before we went to the movies. I was like, how many Dune books are there? It said like 28.
Yeah, but there was only 6 for like the main. It'd be like Lord of the Rings with like the Similarians and stuff like that. But another thing is like Paul is like 100% convinced he is not the Messiah. He doesn't want to be the Messiah. He's not. But everything he's doing is proving in the fact that he is this character.
That kind of speaks to the Bene Gesserit or whatever. Like this whole the witches, the space witches.
Yeah,
they set up this prophecy because they know like that they just kind of foresaw it was like, okay, if one of our guys and we try to come take over Arrakis, like that's what's going to happen. That's what we're going to need to have happen. Yeah. And someone who's powerful enough. Like I think Paul was pretty much raised to be doing that stuff. Like
he's the what is he? The Hatterack.
Something I don't know. There's a lot of words in this.
Yeah. But he's of a prophecy of the Bene Gesserit to begin. Yeah. So.
But then like the Bene Gesserit, you see, because like they kind of go rogue, and his mom, Paul's mom, is like becoming like the big powerful.
Yeah, she's looking to use Paul to pretty much control the Bene Gesserit too.
Take the power.
I hate the Bene Gesserit, which is great. On the storytelling, you're supposed to hate them, and I hate them so much, dude.
Well, they're just so manipulative.
Oh my God, yeah.
And like you feel like Elvis, whatever, Austin Butler, who does a good job.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of one of our criticisms. We wish he was in it more. Like, we wish he did more because he doesn't show up until halfway through it. Yeah, and then he gets spoiler alert. He gets stabbed in the chest. It was
a pretty great fight at the end.
Yeah, it was a good fight, and like you think because I mean, obviously not going to kill off Timothy's character in this, but. He stabs him through, and then like, oh, he's not done fighting. Like,
that's actually a throwback to the first movie. I don't know if you remember that. There's a scene where Paul is fighting Gurney at the beginning.
Oh, he's training.
Yeah, and Paul literally goes, "I have you dead," and he goes, "Well, look, young prince," and he looks, and there's a knife at him, and he's like, "You would be coming with me."
Cool.
Yeah, so it was a good callback. I will. Let's talk about Austin Butler and Dave Bautista and the Harkonnens a little bit.
I liked what they did with it. I kind of like it's a good criticism to say I want more of something.
Yeah,
like it's so well done. I want more of it.
Yeah, I think my beef, and we've talked about it. We introduced to Dave Bautista's character in the first movie, and he doesn't get a lot of screen time because you're like, oh, okay, he's going to be a big player in the
set
second
him up
movie.
to be like the governor of Arrakis.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
he's going to be like this big guy. But then in the second movie, we don't get him a lot, but he's in the first half of the movie, and then they introduce Austin Butler, which is his brother.
Yeah.
Because they're both nephews to the Baron. And you get Austin Butler, and you're like, oh my God, Austin Butler is phenomenal. He's calculating. He's sociopathic. Like, he's like, a guy tells him, maybe you shouldn't do that, my lord. And he just slits his throat and says, bring him back to my chambers. My ladies will want to eat him.
That's so gross.
Yeah,
the whole time.
all that was just so calmly done. And then he just goes back to the command scene. So you're like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. And then he dies at the end. And then the Baron dies. And I get that they're wrapping up the Harkonnen line. And then the next movie, spoiler, there will most likely be a third movie, is this holy war that Atreides does against all that other houses.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that movie.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
But I get that they're wrapping up the Harkonnens to introduce the new threat, but to me it was just a little too many Harkonnens to try and be as the bad guy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not really connect with any of them for too long.
I do feel what you're saying, and I kind of wish that Stellan Skarsgård's character got more.
Oh, I love. He was so creepy,
big
though,
fat
too,
floaty
dude.
guy.
Yeah,
You know? I like that they
God.
were like humbling him toward the end. They're like hitting him in the back, and now he can't fly. And he sees the empty throne. He's like, I'm gonna get up.
Yeah, he's like trying to crawl to the throne.
Yeah. But Batista's character, he's just pathetic. You feel bad for him because it's like he's not. Like he's sort of like
he's
a Kylo
just a
Ren
warrior.
or something.
He's
Yeah,
just
he's
a warrior.
He's just an angry, upset like person who doesn't exactly understand like how to beat these. Because in his head, he's like, oh, we got all these resources, and we're like losing to rats in the desert.
Yeah.
It's kind of how they said it.
He doesn't have the mind to actually rule. You know, he could fight all day, but he's not even winning that.
Yeah.
But no, the Harkonnens were really good. I like the Harkonnens a lot. I like seeing their homeworld.
Oh yeah, it's like all weird and black and white.
Yeah, like the color's just gone from it.
I was thinking that was like that was like an entertainment thing or something, like a gladiatory arena.
Yeah, because you notice when they walked into the arena, but then afterwards you see fireworks all throughout the city, and they're all muted black and white colors.
Yeah, it was like weird, like paint blotch.
It was
fireworks.
cool,
very cool,
really
visuals.
cool.
Very
yeah,
cool. And it is very much like, okay, these are evil people. Like this is not a gray issue. This is black and white.
Yeah.
Although there was one character that like, this is the last of the Atreides.
Yes.
And I thought it was what's his face?
Gurney.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
I was like, oh no, he's gonna get killed, but he's doing some
dude.
smuggler thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like that they bring him back and they kind of.
So everyone already obviously knows this, but Josh Brolin plays Thanos in the Avengers.
No, he doesn't.
And Tess literally, we just watched the first movie, and then the second one, she goes, "Is that Thanos?" And I said, "Yes, it's Josh Brolin." She goes, "He didn't sound like Thanos in the first movie." I said, "He literally did." Josh Brolin does not change his voice at all for any of his films.
I think they like digitally pitched him down or something for Thanos.
Maybe you could hear it very clearly in both movies, and I was like, "No, that's Thanos."
Well, it's clear. Like you hire an actor, and even if he's like mocap of just voice acting, like you want to figure out, oh, that's Josh Brolin.
Yeah. I will say in Men in Black 3, he did have like a southern type of accent.
Oh, he was good in that. Yeah,
I did like.
He was probably the best part of that, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, Men in Black 3 was so good though. Too.
I put my pants on. No, yeah. What about the action in this? There's lots of great scenes where like Paul and Chani.
Yeah, Chani.
They're like fighting like this huge mech thing that's like harvesting spice out of the sand, and they're like shooting rockets. And he's like, "Okay, I need to go over here." And then all the guys who were thinking of the Messiah, they're just like, "Oh, he did it! Just as
just
was
as
foretold.
They said, he was going to take out a spice trader
he
thing."
Sees all the moves in his mind before it happens, and then he.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, I loved them coming out of the sand all the time. They had those like mine things that they were magnetic bombs essentially. When we were first reintroduced to Gurney, he's like smuggling spice, and you see like this little shake, and I'm like, oh, no way they're that bad that they slipped out of their cover, kind of thing, thinking the Fremens had. And then it's just this big flat metal piece that attaches and then blows up, and I'm like, that's fucking genius, dude.
Yeah, dude. How come no one's ever done that before?
Yeah.
Keep that going.
I really thought, too, after he subdues Gurney and then his warriors keep going, I'm like, is he just going to let the warriors kill all of them and then keep Gurney? Because I thought that's what he was going to do.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that was, he's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't kill him yet.
It's also funny, too, you can tell the time that this movie was written, or this book was written in the 60s, because their big last weapon that Gurney has access to is atomic bombs.
Yeah.
You know, and he's we have the Atreides atomics. And
the nukes.
Yeah, we've hidden them over there kind of thing. And it's like, that's exactly what, and someone writing in the 60s would think the ultimate weapon is a nuclear bomb. You know what I mean?
Well, that's even in like the Red Rising books. Like that's one of the like the tides that change there. It's like we got enough nukes to destroy a planet.
Yeah.
And they're over here in this area and someone's stolen them. So like this is a big thing we need to think think about. But that's the biggest technology we've got.
Yeah,
at least in this modern age.
I liked with the ornithopters, they had those guns.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just it was like a pellet spread, but it was like 50 cal bullets. So it would shoot like a 4x3 spread of bullets at everyone.
I like those little lasers that are just like microscopic, or they're very thin, but they do so much damage.
Oh my god, yeah, the visual effects were so good because in the first movie, you don't get a lot of like guns and stuff. You get the anti-aircraft
Yeah.
like guns and stuff. But you don't get any like personal guns that much. In this one, you see a lot more guns. You got like snipers and stuff like that. But you really still see swords and stuff too.
Paul's gun like folds up into a little thing. Like,
yeah, he like
folds up
unfolded
into
it.
a little
Yeah,
card thing or something.
yeah. Well, he stole that from the Fremen. It was a Fremen gun.
Oh, cool.
Also, talking about the Fremen a little bit, like they worship water because they live in a desert area.
Yeah.
And so everyone who dies, they get all their water sucked out of them, and then they just dump it into this canal. And it was like millions of lives worth of water.
And that was the whole
And
thing,
they don't
like,
drink it. Like they will not drink that water.
And they're all dying of like thirst.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff, so.
sacred water, you know?
It's cool, and I do kind of like that they steal the water out of people.
Yeah.
Like that's a gross but like functional design, you know. Like,
oh.
The only water we've got is these evil, people, and it's like, we can't drink it because there's so many chemicals in
Yeah.
these people, but like we're gonna use it to cool in our cooling systems
Yeah.
or whatever.
And I like it too. The Bene Gesserit mom, Jessica, she's like going to throw up because she's pregnant in this movie, and then and the guy's like, "Don't do that. You're
Don't
wasting water.
waste it,
Do not do that." And then she throws up. And he's like, "Oh my god, you just wasted so much water."
Let's talk about the baby.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
There's
Anna
just a
Taylor
little,
Joy, spoiler alert, is the baby we see later in a dream sequence.
I heard some rumors that she might be in this, but she wasn't she didn't do it. I mean, she didn't really. She was in the movie for like a second.
She'll be Paul Atreides' sister. So we're gonna see a time jump.
I think so, or it's just like we'll have that. Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work. Again, Dune's weird.
Dune's unpredictable.
Yeah,
I would have not seen any of this coming in the second movie.
Yeah, no. I'm glad it kind of I think this was just the first book.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad we're getting more and more of it.
Yes, it's so good. Like I want so much more. I'm like, damn, we're not seeing another movie for like 2 to 3 years.
I know.
But it's worth it.
It's good, and I'm glad that they take their time. It like lets me get re-hyped up back for the next one.
Yeah. With this, so we learn in this one, she takes the mom takes the drink. It's some
Kool-Aid.
sort of they called it worm piss. It's some sort of fluid derived from the. I'm assuming it's like the blood of the dune worms.
I think it kills the baby worms. Maybe not.
No, that's what they pull out of the baby worm.
Yeah, but I think they have to kill it to get it.
Oh,
right?
yeah. So I think it's some sort of fluid.
Dude, and when the guy's like calling the baby worm over and he's like clicking at it, it feels like a religious no-no.
Yeah.
It feels like something you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like a heretic thing.
Yes.
But that's how you get like the future sight essentially.
Yeah,
you drink the blue.
Yeah.
And me and Steven both were like, "This looks delicious."
Yeah,
I really want to take
raspberry.
that.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is the Bene Gesserits drink it like the Reverend Mother. Every planet has a Reverend Mother, but they still kind of adhere to that planet's customs. So the mom doesn't know what a Reverend Mother would be like on Arrakis.
Yeah.
And they are the only ones that drink it because they said guys couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. They can't because guys can't handle being a Bene Gesserit to begin. That's why it's like, Paul is so unique.
Yeah, it's kind of like poison. It's like because they say that like Bene Gesserits are trained to
transmutate the poison.
So again, like I guess it's just okay that she can do that, and I guess he kind of can do it. Maybe not because Zendaya. The whole thing was kind of like, what are we doing? Like she like dipped her. Well, she didn't want to do it either, but then the lady used the mom used the voice on her.
Well, that's the thing too is that if she had done it willingly, you see the sacrifice because the guy even says Stilgar tells the mom, don't waste your water for anyone because she's like crying. Looking at things like don't waste your water for anything, and then. That's what we see Zendaya's character do is waste her water for someone else. And if you were to do that organically, that's got to be the ultimate sign of like you care for someone is to waste your water on them kind of thing.
This is like a stupid detail, but I was kind of like thinking about it during it. Like Paul and Michi, what's her name?
Chani? You really don't remember Zendaya's name?
Zendaya is Michi. They're having sex at one point in the movie.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you're wasting all that water.
Probably
like giving out all these fluids they don't need to.
That's a good point. How do they see that kind of thing?
I don't know. It must be dry. Some of that dry desert piss.
But no, so the mom drinks it, and they realize she's pregnant at that point. And they're like, oh my God, what have we done?
Killed the baby.
Yeah, but the mom is able to transmutate it, but then it also kind of mutates the daughter inside of her. So they're able to talk to each other. She's like heightened senses and brain power.
Wasn't she kind of like already talking to her beforehand, or no?
No, it wasn't until afterwards, because we thought she'd just gone batshit crazy. We didn't believe that she was truly talking with the...
I thought that was all like, he's like, I can talk to the baby. It's like, oh, no, you can't.
No, you can't. Like,
crazy.
Yeah, and she was like, that's right, we need to protect him. And she's like holding her belly. It's
not
not until Paul drinks it that we realize, oh, she's telling the truth.
Yeah. And Paul gets to see her, and she's like, Paul, I love you. I'm your sister.
I'll do anything to help the house and stuff.
Yeah, it was super cool. I'm so curious as to where this goes.
Yes.
Because Paul has a very drastic change, but he doesn't want to do it the whole time. He's like, I've had a vision if I go to the South, whatever, and get
millions of people are going to die in my name. This holy war starts.
So, and realistically, I kind of like... Like, realistically, the Bene Gesserit made the prophecy, right? Like, he's not actually a prophet.
Yeah.
Or like a messiah.
Well, he kind of is a prophet, though. He can see the future.
See, that's a good point. But isn't that just like a technological? Isn't that just like a power that a certain group of people has?
But again, he's special in the fact that he's not supposed to be able to do that because only women are allowed to do that.
But like Austin Butler's character was the same way. He was the son of a Bene Gesserit, wasn't he? Because they're like, we have a backup plan. You know what I mean?
Oh, he was a prospect. I don't think he was the son of a Bene Gesserit.
I thought that was the whole deal.
No, I think that his offspring was going to be one.
His offspring?
That's why the Bene Gesserit lady slept with him. Baby now has his blood and a Bene Gesserit.
But that baby's gonna be a girl, remember?
Yeah, I don't think he was born a because they didn't want Paul to be the Haderach. But so I don't think they were breeding a male. I think they just were looking at him as a prospective figurehead that they could control later.
Oh, with sex and what'd she say?
It's like lust and desire. I think
something like that. Yeah, she really got him.
Yeah, she did. And that's the thing. Like they can transmutate
so
poison.
Gross in this. He got like a black mouth and teeth. He's just hard to look at.
Well, I like it too. We were talking about it too. Like they were able to transmutate the poison, the Bene Gesserit was. And so after the lady has sex with Austin Butler's character, she goes back to the Reverend Mother and she's like, yeah, as you requested, it's also going to be a female. So I'm like, they can change. Can they just change the gender of their baby?
I guess so. Or maybe they can just think about it or something. You know, maybe they know. I guess they can see the future. So
there's so many little things in this that you don't know. Like there's no exposition of like usually in another movie they would be like, oh yes, the Bene Gesserit have these abilities. Yeah. They don't give you that in these movies. You just have to like infer it.
You get like Josh Brolin like voiceover.
Yes.
That they add afterwards. They're like, yeah, the Bene Gesserit can actually control what sex of the baby it's going to be.
Yeah,
you know? So
or the
stupid.
mom would be like, as she's training Paul, would be like, the Bene Gesserit have many powers, such as this. And you don't get that in this movie.
Well, it lets us like make our assumptions, and it also doesn't like dumb it down for us.
And it keeps the mystery of them, you know?
Yeah.
No, I liked it a lot.
Poor Paul though. He's like, I don't want to do this. Like the whole time, but he has no other choice because it's the only way to end the war.
Yeah.
And like the Harkonnens are already like destroying their holy city. Yeah. And they're like already, stealing the spice from Arrakis. Mm-hmm. So Paul's just like, I've got no other choice. Like we have to go south or we'll die.
Yeah.
And
that's what Zendaya's character Chani tells him too. He's like, you won't do that. Just go south though, because we need you, kind of thing.
And he's just gonna like stay. He was gonna stay and like help them get away. Yeah. But they get away from it anyway. He was just trying to divert going to the south.
Yeah.
Even though he promised to like help the people as much as he could and do whatever he could for them. And eventually he does drink the blue water.
The water of life is what it's called.
Yeah, the worm poison, whatever.
Yeah, worm piss.
And delicious looking.
Oh, so
might I add again.
Put it over like shaved ice. Man.
It's either like a delicious syrup or it's like Windex.
Yeah, there's no in between.
What's that thing from Avatar? It's either delectable tea or horrible poison. He's like got the flower.
Does Iroh say that? Yeah.
And he's like, Uncle, just don't drink it. And he's like, well, but it could be delicious tea. Yeah. He ends up like a big face rash and all this stuff. Anyway, but yeah, they afterwards he drinks that, he becomes like this completely different person. Yeah. He's taken over and he's got like, he can see the way, he can see the future, and he's got like...
I don't think he's different. I think he's more sure of it. Because before that, he doubted it, right? Because he said, this isn't going to happen. I see these things and I don't want it to come true. Now he's like, I can see all the outcomes and I can choose which one to do.
But specifically, he's like, Michi, I'll be with you for the end of the month.
If you keep calling her Michi, dude... Her name is Chani.
Johnny. He kept saying Chani, and I was like, why is her name Johnny?
Oh, my God.
No. I liked her in this, by the way. I thought she was good.
No, she was also... it is weird how steadfast... It's understandable. So her whole character, if you guys haven't seen it, is...
she kind of respects him in a way, because he's like, he's learning their language, and he knows their ways and stuff, sort of.
But she's also determined that only a Fremen will lead someone on Arrakis. Only Fremen will lead because they are the people. She respects Paul and everything he's done, but she does not like that he would become a leader because she doesn't think he should be the leader.
They pretty much like take him into their
he pretty much becomes a Fremen in all but name. Mahadib.
Mahadib.
Yeah, Mahadib.
It means rat. Desert rat.
Desert rat. Desert mouse, I think is actually.
Which is cool because they call them, the Harkonnens are like, these rats are in the sand.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, you see him he makes a little like water in his ears and he washes his face up.
I'm just saying, I do think, Bene Gesserit or not, he fulfills the role and becomes a messiah of these people. Even if it's a false prophecy, he does end up being their messiah.
Well, it brings into account like all this different stuff. Like it makes you think a little deeper. It's like, okay, so the Bene Gesserits they can see the future.
Yeah.
And they did like set this prophecy up. So who's to say he's not a messiah?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he did do exactly what was foretold. Yeah. It just depends on we know that the Bene Gesserit made that prophecy for their own gain.
Yeah.
So it depends. It's okay, well, is Paul gonna rise above that prophecy and actually help people, or is he gonna be the kind of weapon that they want him to be?
I could honestly see this happening towards the end of the series. Paul just becoming the bad guy. Lusted over power, and they end up having to kill him. I could see that.
Yeah, he totally kind of because he kind of he becomes a different person. He's his character becomes okay, I'm gonna be a good person. I'm gonna help whoever I can, however I can, and then it becomes I'm gonna be a leader.
Yeah,
I need to lead these people out of bondage, and we need to kill all these other houses that are not respecting me as the emperor.
It'd be interesting to see how his character. I hope he becomes a good guy at the end because I don't want Paul to die, but I could totally see him being that bad guy.
I think he's kind of got it. And that's
it'd be so poetic too if Chani comes up and kills him.
I think that
no.
I mean, that's kind of how it seems right now, at least. But that's the thing too. She's like, "Will you leave me? Are we gonna always be together?" He says, "Yeah, as long as I breathe."
Yeah, and he still maintains that she
did
leaves
stop
him.
breathing.
Oh,
he did die for I guess he kind of.
But he tells her after that still, "I love you for as long as I can breathe."
He said that
she's
before
the one that leaves.
Well, no, he proposes to Florence Pugh.
Yeah, but he still tells her in that moment, in that scene.
No, I know he's saying that I love you still, but I can't be with you anymore. I got to be with Florence Pugh now.
I don't think he's saying that.
Well, he has to be with Florence Pugh to get the get secure the rest of the galaxy.
Yeah, but he can still keep Chani as the actual wife.
I mean, maybe, but if I was Chani, I wouldn't be cool with that.
I mean, yeah, of course, but Chani's gonna have to get over it.
He's like, you want
this is for the greater good.
I've watched a couple animes.
I am your wife.
I've seen a couple harams.
I am the greatest good you will ever gonna get.
They're incredible.
Yeah. No, anyway. I'm excited. The movie was really good.
It was so beautiful too. It's nice to go into a theater and watch something that's a spectacle to it.
Yeah. Do you have any negatives from the movie? Anything you didn't like?
It was a little long.
Yeah.
And it didn't really feel its length, but it's sort of.
If you were to go rewatch it, it'd probably be a month before I go and rewatch it again.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna wait until it comes back out on Max or something.
Yeah, something I find really interesting, and it's not just with this film, but a lot of futuristic movies. In today's age, right? Let's take today. We think we're so civilized. We don't have one-on-one duels, right? We don't have fights to the death. Mm-hmm. We don't have I can kill you and I'll take over as leader kind of thing because we're we're civilized. We don't do that anymore. It's elected officials and all that stuff. These guys are the year's 10,000. Let's just assume it's in our timeline, right? So it's 8,000 years in the future. They have amazing technology, but then they also use swords and they also have these rituals of choose your champion. I'll fight you. If I win, I'm now the emperor of the known universe. You know what I mean?
Because they're on Arrakis. I think he was trying to do that as a show for the people.
Yeah.
I'm going to defeat their leader and become the leader.
Yeah. But it's just crazy how there's so much in the future. They can literally pull the water out of anyone and keep it. Yeah. But then they also have these, I have to kill the leader to become only tribal leaders can talk. So Stilgar can't just give that leadership to.
He's you got to kill me. He's trying to make him kill.
Yeah, he's just kill me. And he's I'm not going to kill you, dude.
He's I'm not killing the best of us or whatever he says.
So it's so weird how futuristic yet, I don't want to say backwards, but backwards.
It's barbaric.
Yeah, barbaric that it is.
Yeah, it's a good dichotomy.
But it melds pretty well.
It does. And it's sort of an alternate future. It's not it's a different way that you could kind of see, humanity evolving to a certain point. Because even in that Red Rising book I keep talking about, there's barbaric elements of it. The golds, the leaders of society, they value barbaricness because you're ruthless. You'll do whatever it takes to to get your bloodline to go forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's also crazy too, all of these houses, they have to have a common ancestor. Because they all have humanistic features. We don't get Star Wars where there's different alien types, I
think they're all from Earth. I think it all started on Earth.
So we could pretend it's the same timeline where they just and then they branch out. It's also crazy. They literally call him the Emperor of the Known Universe, and it's Christopher motherfucking Walken.
Anyway, I really liked it. I'm gonna give it an 8 or 9, honestly.
I'm a lot more biased than you. I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yeah. I mean, I think it's good enough for a 10.
I'd give it a 10.
Screw it. I think I'm. If Denis Villeneuve keeps doing Dune movies, I'll keep watching them.
I will 100%
keep
watch them
up
until the day I die.
I think he said...
Same with the Fast and Furious movies.
No. I didn't see the last one in theaters. I just waited until it came on Peacock.
You still watched it, though.
I did watch it.
So as long as Vin Diesel is making those Fast and Furious movies, you're going to be watching them.
I want to see Fast and the Furious and time travel back to prehistoric times, and they have to do dinosaur cars.
It does blow my mind that people...
Fred Flintstone, they're running with feet.
Vin Diesel's kicking it up. Oh, that'd be awesome. It does crack me up that people can genuinely be like, no, I don't watch those movies anymore, and they just stop watching them.
Yeah.
I'm like Stockholmed into any movie, no matter how bad the series gets, except for Star Wars. I have cut off Star Wars, but everything else, I just watch all of it. I'm like, oh, you actually choose not to watch a bad movie?
Dude, I've kind of cut off Marvel. Like, I haven't really done any Marvel like stuff in the past.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will end up watching them though. That's the
Loki.
thing. Yeah, Loki and like She-Hulk.
Don't
and,
say
like,
She-Hulk in the same sentence as Loki, dog.
Yeah, that's the same studio.
Yeah.
they made both those things.
But yeah, that's our review of Dune. Unless you have anything else you'd like to add to it.
I really liked when he was like,
it's Dune in time, and then he duned all over the place.
He said, "Where are my Duners at?" And then he just duned all over the floor. No, I liked, but he did like there was a part where he's talking about like he can like finally see the future, and he's in front of this big auditorium, and he's like, your mother lived under this planet when it wasn't known as Arrakis. It was known under the mother's tongue or whatever. He's like, it was known as, and everyone pauses and it's quiet. And he says, Dune, and they all erupt. And
yeah.
It was one of those like Family Guy moments where he's like, he said the name.
He did. Oh. Yeah, I did like that.
Anyway, fun stuff. But yeah, I would say check it out. That's
definitely go watch it.
And
we'll see you guys next time.